How's it? I am Mr. Willie 19 coming at you here from the Second Amendment Show on the YT YouTube. Uh, really quick, I want to give a couple of hi and howdies to some people who deserve it. The JMac 1983, thank you, brother, for such a cool unboxing video. That just kicked my big white hairy ass, man. Really cool vid. I appreciate it. Guitar Mikey 2 over at Gear for Junkie channel. Mikey and I first ran across Mikey's channel, I guess about a year ago, long before I even started posting videos. He had a video about how to make paracord bracelets, and I kind of stashed it away in my own little private playlist that I call resources, and swore that someday I'd get around to it once I broke out the paracord, and I did just the other day. It was my very first entree into making stuff out of paracord. I went back to Mikey's video, watched it. It took me all of like 7 to 10 minutes, and this is the very first thing I've ever made. Bracelet came out badass, man. I love it. And I'm very, very proud to say that long before I ever got around to doing this, Mikey and I have become very good friends, and I'm very proud to say that. So, Guitar Mikey 2, Gear Junkie channel, thanks a lot. And I know I've given this brother a few shout-outs in the past, but I can't help myself but do it again. Dude from Eddie's podcast channel, I want to thank you for your continued friendship. And what can I say? Just the way you conduct yourself. Just the words class act don't even begin to describe it. Dude, 80s podcast channel, thank you for your continued friendship, man. It means a lot to me. It's not easy to find in this day and age, especially with a lot of weirdos out there. Out in cyberspace, it's nice to know that there's honest, good, real, down-to-earth human beings. Dude, I appreciate your friendship. Okay, now getting on to the purpose of the video. I haven't posted a video in quite a while. I've been putting together a multiple-part series on the Yugoslavian SKS. I'm not happy with the way it's coming out. I'm going to have to redo some of it. Great rifle, in my opinion. It's got a lot of fine attributes, but it also has some pretty shitty things about it as well. But we'll get to that later. This video is an FAQ. So to fill up a little space and to post a video, I'm going to answer some frequently answered. I never reshoot videos, so forgive me. I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions. I generally do not respond to these particular questions that are asked of me, be they in comments on one of my videos or sent to me via PM. I generally ignore them. So to answer them all in one fell swoop, I'm going to go ahead and do it here. Here's basically the top 5 frequently asked questions of Mr. Willie 19. Here we go. Number 1. What does Mr. Willie 19 mean? The Mr. part, I have no idea. I either checked a box for salutation or did not uncheck a box. The Mr. part, I hate. I despise it. I'm known as Mr. Willie 19 now, and I've grown used to it. It's not as sharp as it used to feel, but I don't like the Mr. part. How that ended up there, I have no idea. When I was opening my YouTube account, I checked something or didn't check something. I don't know where the Mr. came from. Wheelie, oh boy. Many, many years ago, way back in the olden days, back in the 70s, I used to race BMX back when it was not all that well organized. The ABA, the American Bicyclist Association, was really just getting its feet planted in Southern California. And there was basically only one bicycle shop that sold high-end parts where I grew up along the beach in northern San Diego County. And you have to remember, I'm talking back in the 70s, long before freestyle BMX was the juggernaut that it is nowadays, the X Games and stuff like that. freestyle BMX was basically a neighborhood to neighborhood kind of thing. To see somebody crank a wheelie on a bicycle was mind-blowing to most people. On a motorcycle, yeah, you could trip some people out a little bit. But to see somebody crank a wheelie on a bicycle just for miles and going one-handed used to blow people's mind. And I can ride a wheelie on a motorcycle or bicycle from here to wherever you tell me to go. And I'll go halfway one-handed. Anyway, when I was a kid, this one bicycle shop had these big, huge plate glass windows, and every time I go cruising up there, I would come riding up to it, get into their parking lot, crank a circle on one wheel, just kind of leaning over, and I'd go up to where, of course, they have a bike rack in front. I'd go right up to the bike rack, kind of feather it back, drop the front wheel right down the slot, climb off my bike, go in, and go buy my stuff. Well, one day, a bunch of friends of mine and we'd all went to the bike shop. And, of course, I came in, cranking the wheelie as usual, and dropped the front end down the bike rack. And we're off in the far corner of the bicycle shop, and this voice yells, "Hey, Wheelie, your chain came in." We all kind of look at each other because I had said, of course, a million times on the ride to the shop with all my friends, I hope my bicycle chain is in. I hope my new chain is in. I hope my new chain is in that I ordered. And, "Hey, Wheelie, your chain's in." The fuck? Didn't pay too much yet. "Wheelie, what are you, deaf? Your chain is here." And I hear, "Your chain's here." And I turn around. "Yeah, you, Wheelie, get your ass over here. Your chain came in. Come pick it up." "Oh." I go walking up to the counter. I said, "What are you, deaf?" "No." "You don't know your name?" "What?" "Wheelie." "Everyone here calls you Wheelie. We see you going up and down the street in front of these plate glass windows. You're always riding on one wheel everywhere you go. At the racetracks all around here in Southern California, we know you race bicycles, of course. We're often up there in the score booth. All the officials refer to you as Wheelie. Everyone calls you Wheelie. Don't you know that?" "No." And, of course, all my buddies are sitting around there kind of laughing. They didn't know either. None of us knew that all the adults were calling me Willie. So they got wind of it, and the name kind of stuck. And to this day, I'm in my 40s. Anyone who's known me since late elementary or junior high calls me Wheelie or Wheels for short. So that's where Wheelie comes from. The 19, once I graduated from bicycles to motorcycles, I started racing TT and dirt track in District 37 AMA. The number plate that AMA issued me when I started out as a novice racing TT was the number 19. My handle, my username that I wanted for YouTube, I just wanted Wheelie. The Mr. part, I don't know. Wheelie was already taken, so I threw on number 19 off my old number plate when I used to race motorcycles. So there's Mr. Wheelie 19. Okay, done with that. Number 2, FAQ. How's it? I get a lot of questions about that, and I've had a ton of people say, are you trying to be Dog the Bounty Hunter, or you stole that from Dog Bounty Hunter? I don't watch much television, but I've seen that show quite a few times. I grew up in coastal Southern California, in North San Diego County, right along the beach. Obviously, a very surf-oriented community, very laid back. Huge surf industry. OP Sunwear was started by a couple of guys just down the street from me. BZ Bodyboards, Bobby Zabad. If you ever seen anybody skimboarding, the pioneer of that was Frank Zabad. He used to do it on an old stop sign. These are all people I grew up with. Large Hawaiian community. First stop from Hawaii, if you're going to go to Southern California. The surf culture, of course, came from Hawaii, and the Hawaiians brought it to Southern California. And how's it is basically pidgin English among the Hawaiians. How's it? How's it going? Anyone who's heard anybody speak Hawaiian pidgin English, that's how's it is a very common thing. Growing up a little surfer boy in Southern California around a lot of Hawaiians and Samoans, how's it is something I've been saying. It's just part of my vocabulary. I've been saying it since before I can remember. It's just the way we talk. Some people grow out of it and lose it out of their lexicon. Myself, I still say how's it. I say words that are considered outdated. I say bitchin'. Hey, I've got this really nice model 686 Smith & Wesson. Oh man, them guns are so bitchin'. I love those things. Yeah, I still use that word. Or traffic was so gnarly, man. It was terrible. I use words like gnarly and bitchin' and how's it. It's just what I grew up speaking. It's who I am. I didn't steal it from Dog the Bounty Hunter or whatever. It's Southern California surfer speak brought to us by the Hawaiians. Okay? So that's where how's it comes from. Along the same lines, closing tag that I use, I will say, I'm hoping this video finds you and finds you well. I've had a number of people say, well, you're copying the Shawshank Redemption, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I don't own it on DVD, but I could not figure out where in the movie they said that. And just the other day, it was playing. I saw a commercial that was going to be playing on TV, so I made a point to go ahead and watch it. And I saw the scene where the one character is reading a letter saying, I hope this letter finds you and finds you well. So I can understand why people might think me saying, I hope this video finds you and finds you well, that I might have stole from Shawshank Redemption. No, I didn't. I got that from my mom. As a little kid, when you're 6, 7, 8 years old, you have a birthday party, the parents bitching out the backyard and everything, the streamers and balloons. And your friends come over bringing presents and such. By the time the party's over at the end of the day, everything's all cleaned up. It was time to sit down at the dining room table, me and my mom, and I'd have to write out thank you cards, teaching my friends. Now, of course, friends bringing you a killer racetrack or, a nice bitchin' football or something like that, and it's all wrapped nice. The kid didn't buy that with his or her own money. Their folks bought it. So my mom sat down right next to me and wrote out thank you cards as well to each and every one of the parents. And I wrote out thank you cards to the kids that attended my party, whether they brought a gift or not. And each card had to be personalized. I couldn't just write, thank you, Jimmy, thank you, on each one. No, I had to write something personal. And as I was running out of stuff to write, I'd look over my mom's shoulder and I saw that she signed every single one of her thank you cards that she was sending to the parents. I am hoping this card finds you and finds you well. All my best. And then she would sign her name. And even as a little kid, I remember thinking, I'm hoping this card finds you and finds you well. What a nice thing to say to somebody. I just thought it was very classy. I thought it was very appropriate. I thought it showed great manners. And I've been signing correspondence like that ever since. Not all correspondence, but it's very typical of me to sign something. I hope this finds you and finds you well. And I sign off my videos the same way. So I did not steal that from Shawshank Redemption. Doing it since I was a little kid. I stole it from my mom. And I still do it in her honor. She passed away quite a few years ago. That's where I got that from. Okay. The fourth one. I'm obviously from Southern California. People keep asking me, do I know any movie stars? Gosh, I get that a lot. A couple. I grew up with a couple of, actually 3 or 4 famous people. I'm not going to name names because I don't know what their bios say, and to protect their privacy. A couple of big name sports stars, you would recognize the name. A couple of movie stars, you would recognize both the girls' names. I have met more movie stars than I can possibly count. And say, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, hey, it's a great thing going on here, huh? All right. You doing well tonight? Good. Hey, your last work? It was great, man. I loved that movie. You did fantastic in it. Very nice to see you. Have a great evening. That kind of thing. Just saying hi and howdy. I'm not on any movie stars' Christmas card list. I don't invite any movie stars over to my place when I'm throwing a barbecue. I got a keg of beer and I'm cooking up for 30 of my friends. No movie stars invited. and I'm not invited to their place either, okay? I've met more than I can possibly count. Some are extreme assholes. Some are very, very kind. Dan Aykroyd stands out in particular as being super, super cool dude. We hung out for a few hours one night. Great guy. But do I have his phone number or does he have mine? No. I've met plenty, but do I actually know any or hang out with movie stars? No, I don't. Not everybody in LA County or Southern California hangs with movie stars, okay? And finally, why do you call your channel Second Amendment Show when you do not discuss the Second Amendment? Very good question. I think a lot of people, when they start their channel, have a certain intention for it. Mine was intended to be a very political channel, discussing Second Amendment issues, the Second Amendment's place within our Constitution and within our society in general, and how it relates to just how it relates to our society, period. You know, the ripple effect, it is truly interwoven in our lives, whether you like it or not. And it was intended to be a political channel, but somehow it just didn't turn out that way. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. They had in mind, hey, I'm going to make a channel doing this, this, and that. And what it ended up being was something totally different. My channel's no different. So there it is. There's my top 5 FAQs, frequently asked questions of Mr. Willie 19. I hope that answers some of your questions. And I would like to say in closing, I am Mr. Willie 19, coming at you here from the Second Amendment Show on the YT YouTube. And I am hoping that this video finds you and finds you well. Cheers.